English and in Spanish each time on Concierto.
Every Wednesday night at 8 on KSJE, Farmington. Mostly sunny skies and hot on this Wednesday, 88 for a high today in Farmington, 90 tomorrow, 88 on Friday. A bit cooler with partly sunny skies on Saturday with a high of 83. Overnight lows again in the mid-50s. This program is supported by MyLabs, patient-ordered testing. San Juan Regional Medical Center is expanding its services to offer low-cost blood screenings year-round. Now offering walk-in convenience to get the blood tests you want when you want them. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, is available at the hospital's laboratory and the Outpatient Diagnostic Center on 30th Street in Farmington. With nearly 20 tests available, there's an option for everyone. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, a wellness service of San Juan Regional Medical Center. 8:40 Wednesday morning on KSJE, and you're listening to the Scott Michlin Morning Program from our visual radio studio here at San Juan College. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in on the radio at 90.9 FM or online, of course, watching streaming video on our Facebook page and the new KSJE YouTube channel. So welcome aboard, everybody. It's great to have you along with us. In the studio with me this morning, my guest from the Farmington Municipal School District, Superintendent Dr. Eugene Schmidt is here. Dr. Schmidt again, welcome.
Scott, good morning. Good morning, Four Corners.
Good to have you with us. And also, Nate Pierantoni is here. He is the Assistant Director of Performance and Accountability for Farmington Schools. And Mr. Pierantoni, welcome back to KSJE.
Thank you, Scott, and good morning.
Good to have you here as well. And I want to talk to Dr. Schmidt a little bit about enrollments. It is, unfortunately, a trend throughout the county that enrollments are down at school districts in the county. How do Farmington schools look this far into the school year?
Yes, Scott, we are tracking enrollment every day, and today is the 10th day of school.
Okay.
And so if you've not brought your child to enroll, please do so, because that count is important to us. In terms of enrollment, we are watching a downward trend in our enrollment this year, Scott. Literally, every school is reporting about 20 or more students fewer than we had when the school year ended last May. And so we're watching that with great interest because we build our school budget. All of our operation is based on enrollment. And that magic number for us is 10,983. And just a day ago when we were doing, I want to say, the 7th day count, we were about 400 kids below that number. And so I'll call it the enrollment clerks are busy calling the phone numbers of those kids that have not appeared yet to try and understand, had they just not remembered that school was starting yet?
Right.
Or was it that they are in the process of relocating to another area? So when we look at enrollment trends and knowing that there's numbers of 20 or more below what we'd anticipated in every school, that causes other things to begin to happen. And so the question of the week, Scott, is some positions, as many as 9 teaching positions, had not been filled. You know, we just couldn't find teachers at the first day of school, and those positions were filled with what could be long or short-term substitutes. And so internally we're asking the question, if we can't find a certificated teacher, if the enrollment in that school is down anyhow, might we collapse that position and move kids around in a class grade level? So that's one of the conversations we're having internally. We're also looking at what does it mean as a long year strategy to reduce spending. 400 kids, Scott, represents about $2 million.
Right.
And so
that's significant, I would think,
to
right?
us, that's impactful.
Yes.
And so we will be having conversations internally and eventually externally to the community and certainly to the school board about what strategies might be put in place if enrollment doesn't pick up, if we don't meet that magic number of 10,900. What might we do internally to slow down some of the spending patterns that that we may have for the school year. So a lot of thought, even 10 days into the year, in terms of enrollment counts, in terms of the financial impact to the district should that not pick up. I will say that there are trends in the past, so I got my trend people here, but there are trends in the past that suggest that some families show up after Labor Day. Mm-hmm. And so we will be watching that with curiosity to, maybe the last of the vacations for the summer are done.
Right.
So anyhow, if you are in the community and you've not reported your child to school, please do so. But also, if you haven't and are in the process of relocating, it is still important for the school to know of that plan, because we have desks, material, teachers, for kids that may or may not be showing up. And so that knowledge helps us understand how we can respond to the potential shortfall.
Sure. And I would imagine a lot of the information that you're getting about these enrollment numbers so far is probably economics related.
Yes, and I appreciate that thought, because we internally, as I talk to my leadership team, have been aware of the different businesses that have sold and repositioned themselves in other parts of the country. In fact, I think I saw something about Halliburton was now looking at maybe selling and closing down maybe 40 positions over time, and that's on the back of Baker Hughes and ConocoPhillips. And anyhow, so we've been wondering if all of those economic changes in our community would eventually translate into departures of kids and families. And we see that through two different trend lines. Over the summer, the number of staff who resigned and are relocating to other parts of the country that have oil and gas. And so it was not a surprise to see teachers migrating to other states. And now as we call families, it's not a surprise to hear them say, well, we're down in Texas, we're up in North Dakota, we're out in Wyoming somewhere, so send our records. And so we do see a delayed impact of what we see across the San Juan County in terms of people relocating. And so we had expected that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we had expected it in the 400 range.
Right.
We were thinking, well, maybe 150, 200 maybe, but now we're busy trying to find about 400 kids. And again, I will say that you try and cushion that, because we hadn't filled all the staff positions, just kind of held off on some of the hiring. Right. That allows us some cushion in absorbing that $1.2 to $2 million potential shortfall in our finances for this year. Right.
But you'll keep watching that number, I know. And as you said, maybe after Labor Day, a few extra folks will come to school.
Yes. And
which has happened in the past, I suppose.
As I say, and for our community, it's important to know that we have a school budget of $79 million.
Right.
And so there is a certain amount of play within that $79 million that we can, don't think we're abandoning the children. We're not. We will provide a high quality education, but there are things at the margin that one can do in terms of absorbing that revenue shortfall.
Sure. Well, and none of this is a total exact science, especially with numbers when you're waiting for those kids to come in and fill in those desks. If 400 or not, you need to react to that.
Yes.
And it's not business as usual, or at least it can't be.
And so what my plea to the community would be is that if there will be a couple of grade classrooms in the district that will be collapsed and probably reorganized after Labor Day, as we take positions that potentially had long-term subs and collapse them into certified teachers, because the evidence that Mr. Pierantoni was talking about is a certificated teacher in the classroom is a good thing. Mm-hmm. And so as often as possible, we want to put certified teachers in the classroom. And so we'll be looking at that.
All right. And before we run out of time this morning, Dr. Schmidt, I do want to ask you about some celebrations that you'll be having with the community. I know we've talked a lot about the construction projects throughout the district, and coming up as an opportunity for the community to see what we've been talking about here on the radio these many months.
Yes, and so 4 years in the planning, Farmington High School and That construction project is completed. The kids are delighted, and it's an amazing building. We want to thank our investors, which is our community, for those tax dollars making that possible. Farmington High School on September 12th. We'll be having a ribbon-cutting open house. Community is invited. Come see the power of your tax dollars at work. The same is true of McCormick. That had gone through a renovation, expanded building project that is also going to be celebrated ribbon cutting on September 12, 1 o'clock at McCormick, 3:30 at Farmington High. And just to kind of tease you folks out at Country Club, there's a real chance that the Country Club project will be back on. Ted Laswitz is our Chief Operations Officer. I and probably Board Member Mike Isaacson will be going down to Santa Fe to ask for more state support. And so stay tuned, Country Clubbers, as we might look at that as an opportunity to remodel.
That's been on your list for a while now, and the bids have come in a little bit over your budget, which is what the reason for the delay, I guess, and the reason for the trip to Santa Fe.
Yeah, great memory on your part, because we had anticipated that groundbreaking at Country Club would already be underway at this time. In fact, we've moved 4 portables to Country Club in anticipation of that project, but the bids came in at $1.7 million, higher than we expected, and now in our new plan, Scott, we're planning for that. That construction costs have gone up, and so as we go back and ask the state for match, the state provides 65%, locally we provide 35%, and we remodel a school. So we expect that I'm hoping that sometime next time we meet on the radio, we should have an announcement.
Sometime in late September, then.
Would be wonderful.
All right, very good. Mr. Pierantoni, before we let you go, again, so maybe parents can understand this data that we're talking about, that you're talking about. There are tools that the district provides with Power School and things like that, where parents can keep track of how their student is doing with their grades and with some of those data points.
Absolutely. We encourage, we welcome, we need parents to join us in our mission of making sure that every kid finds success. Every one of our schools has secretaries and administrators and teachers that can help our parents get online into Power School to better understand their students' progress. Parent-teacher conferences will be around the corner. We have reports from the park assessment that have gone home, and we hope to be able to answer any questions that parents have. Every one of our administrators and teachers should be able to speak to the importance of ensuring that our kids are on track academically. All right, very good.
Thank you both for coming in this morning, explaining some of this very important data and important information that you use in a variety of ways to improve the education in our schools. Thank you.
See you in September.
All right, very good.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you in September. My guest from Farmington Municipal Schools here on KSJE. Back with more, everyone, in just a moment. Our visit to the Encouragement Lab is coming up next. This program on KSJE is supported by